is based solely on this show. That's kind of analogous to the situation we're in here. They'd be going, well, is she portraying them accurately? Why is she dressed like that? Where's the guy who used to present it? Was that her brother? A lack of reliable sources is one of the drawbacks to doing ancient philosophy. But on the other hand, I really love it, because this stuff was written almost 2,000 years ago, in another country, in another language, by people who lived unimaginably different lives, but it's still capable of making me go, oh yeah, I get what you mean. It genuinely gives me a really beautiful sense of the oneness of humanity. It's like getting a high five across time. I love it. The Meditations isn't really a philosophy book per se. It doesn't build to a conclusion or argue for a specific point. It's just a collection of notes that Marcus wrote to himself that he probably didn't expect anyone else to ever read. That's because in the ancient world, philosophy wasn't a university course the way we might think of it now. It was more like self-help. It was supposed to improve your life.
Philosophy was not merely a subject to write or argue about, but one that was expected to provide a design for living, a set of rules to live one's life by. This was a need not met by ancient religion, which privileged ritual over doctrine and provided little in the way of moral and ethical guidelines, nor did anyone expect it to. That was what philosophy was for.
So, I'm going to skim through Marcus here, I'm going to pull out some key Stoic concepts and teach them to you. And of course, I have compiled them into an internet-friendly numbered list. Number 1, the dichotomy of control. This one's pretty simple. Control the things you can control. Don't worry about the things that you can't. If you're an addict, or you know an addict, you might recognize this idea from the Serenity Prayer, popularized by Alcoholics Anonymous. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The key for Stoics is there's only one thing you can really control, and that is your judgments about the world. For example, Marcus says, imagine somebody insults you and you get really angry. Take a step back. Have you really been hurt by what they said? No. What's happened is they've insulted you and you've made a judgment, something like, and you've reacted to that, not the insult itself. You can change that judgment if you want to, and you can let that anger go.
If you are pained by any external thing, it is not the thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now.
That's not an easy thing to do, which is why you have to work at it. This is something that other Roman Stoics like Seneca and Epictetus said too. You've got to train yourself to take that step back and examine your feelings every time you experience a strong emotion. It's worth mentioning, in the 21st century, we are very used to thinking that feelings and judgments are separate things. You've got your feelings, those are your moods, emotions, desires, your vibes. They're all over here in a pink heart shape. Those are for girls and they are gay, because over here inside a blue brain shape, that's where you've got your facts, judgments, reasoning, beliefs, Jordan Peterson, big mind activity. That is for men and it is not gay. Ancient Stoics didn't think like that. For them, feelings have a judgment inside, like the stone inside a peach. In technical philosophy language, we say that emotions have cognitive content. And Stoics said you have to make sure the judgments inside your feelings are true. For example, a while ago, I had a big audition for a TV series and I was really anxious. So I took Marcus's advice and had a step back and realized that inside my anxiety was a judgment. And that isn't true. If I don't get this part, there'll be other auditions. I can let that judgment go. And immediately, I felt less anxious, which is great. But from the Stoic point of view, the more important thing is that I brought my judgments into line with reality. I'm facing things as they are, not as I imagine them to be. And so I have become more rational. Concept number 2, virtue is the only good. For Stoics, being rational, having accurate judgments about the world, is the only thing you need to have a good life. So follow this example with me. Imagine my agent calls me up tomorrow and says, "You got the part," and I think, "Fantastic, I'm so great." And I get really arrogant. I'm reacting to that judgment, but it's not true. So that good news has been turned into a bad thing. For Stoics, if I don't have accurate judgments about the world, it doesn't matter if I get good news or fame or wealth or opportunity. They won't do me any good. The only thing that really matters is virtue, which is to say, having correct judgments about the world.
The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Therefore, guard accordingly and take care that you entertain no notions unsuitable to virtue and reasonable nature.
This idea overlaps with concept number 3, living in accordance with nature. There's two sides to this. The first is what we just talked about, making sure that your judgments align with reality. The second is living in accordance with human nature. The Stoics said that humans are social creatures. It's in our nature to live in communities and be good to each other. They regarded mankind as one brotherhood, in which every man possesses a spark of the divine.
Each one of us is a part of this universe, from which it is a natural consequence that we should prefer the common advantage to our own. For just as the laws set the safety of all above the safety of individuals, so a good, wise, and law-abiding man, conscious of his duty to the state, studies the advantage of all more than that of himself or of any single individual.
The fourth and final Stoic concept I want to pull out here is the sage. The sage is a Stoic master. Sometimes they mean a literal person like Socrates, and they say he's a sage. Sometimes it's more of an ideal to strive for. The sage lives perfectly in accordance with nature. They have no false judgments about anything. They are never overwhelmed by strong emotions because they've trained themselves to step back every single time. Even when times are tough, even if their agent calls and says, "You didn't get the part," the sage doesn't multiply their suffering by adding false judgments like "it's over for me." Instead, they face reality as it is, and so they are able to cope with adversity. So, those are the major concepts in Stoic philosophy. If you skim through Marcus Aurelius or you watch videos like these on YouTube, those are the notes that you're going to hit, and that is all kushti. But this is Philosophy Tube. I want you to watch this video and then go and sign up to my Patreon so that I can make more of them. And I know that you're not going to do that unless I earn it. You don't sign up to my Patreon because you want to hear me summarize Wikipedia. You sign up to my Patreon because I go the extra mile in extra style. Stoicism is supposed to be a guide for living a better life, which prompts the obvious question, does it actually work? But before we get into that, I want to talk about why the original Stoics believed this stuff. This is the extra material, the deep lore that podcasts and articles don't usually talk about. Stoic physics. The people of the ancient world didn't have particle accelerators and radio telescopes and all the things that we have to make sense of the universe. But they were curious and clever. They had some theories about what's going on here, and the Stoics were no exception. The Stoics said there's two kinds of things in the universe. There's matter, which is passive, and then there's this other active principle called the Logos. And the Logos is kind of like the Force. It's an energy field found in all living things. It surrounds us, penetrates us, binds the galaxy together. It's the rational principle which orders the universe. The Logos is made of a special physical substance called pneuma, the Greek word for breath. Pneuma is a combination of air and fire, two of the four fundamental elements, and it's blended through everything. Objects have it. An axe has pneuma that gives it the power to cut. Plants have pneuma that makes them grow and reproduce. Animals too. Pneuma gives them movement and perception. And we have pneuma in us. It makes your blood warm because it's fire. It makes your heart beat. It lets you think and be rational. It's what your soul is made of. And when you die, the pneuma leaves you. You get cold. You can't move or think anymore.